Most diesel drivers are making daily mistakes that silently destroy their engines. From turbo abuse to fuel system killers, we're exposing 11 secrets mechanics rarely share, but that could save you thousands. Stick around to the end because the last mistake costs nothing to fix. But if you ignore it, it could ruin your entire engine. Secret number 11. Don't warm up, drive up. Everybody knows that diesel engines run best once they reach their optimal temperature. But here's the twist. How you get there makes all the difference. Contrary to popular belief, idling your engine to warm it up is a terrible idea. All you're doing is wasting fuel, increasing harmful emissions like nitrogen oxides and particulate matter, and thinning out your engine oil with unburned diesel. That oil dilution accelerates internal wear, the exact opposite of what you want. So what should you do? First, start the car, let the engine idle for no more than 30 seconds, just enough to stabilize oil pressure. Then start driving gently. Keep it under 2,000 RPM until the engine warms up fully. And never floor the accelerator before your engine reaches operating temperature. That's a fast-track ticket to turbocharger failure, which could easily cost $2,000 to $4,000 to fix. Warming up your diesel properly ensures that oil reaches the turbo, pistons, and crankshaft faster. It also reduces cylinder wash, raw exhaust smoke, and carbon buildup. Here's a fact that should stick with you. Idling burns about a gallon of diesel per hour. Multiply that by your daily habits, and you're basically pouring money into thin air. And speaking of the way you drive, secret number 10, drive it like you stole it. If you want your diesel engine to last 500,000 miles, you can't treat it like a fragile antique. Diesel engines thrive on heat, pressure, and load, and the biggest killer of diesel longevity is babying it too much. If you only take short trips or drive at low RPMs, you're clogging your engine with carbon buildup. That's because diesel engines rely on high combustion pressure to burn fuel cleanly. When you cruise around gently at low speeds, you're inviting DPF clogging, turbo strain, and injector fouling, all of which lead to one thing: premature engine failure. So how do the pros keep their diesels alive? They run them hard and hot, but smartly. Drive at 15 to 2,500 RPM regularly. And if most of your driving is in the city, do a weekly Italian tune-up. Cruise at highway speed, 70 miles per hour, for at least 20 minutes. This burns off soot in the diesel particulate filter and keeps the EGR valve and fuel injectors clean. Yes, it'll use a little more fuel, but it'll save you thousands on engine repairs. Drive it like it was built to be driven, because it was. And while the way you drive keeps things clean after the fact, the next secret can stop soot from becoming a problem in the first place. Secret number 9, monitor DPF regeneration cycles. Between 22 and 46% of drivers ignore dashboard warning lights. In a gasoline car, you might get away with it. In a diesel, that decision could cost you thousands. One of the most ignored and most important warning lights is the DPF regeneration light. It usually looks like an exhaust with dots inside. When it turns on, it means your diesel particulate filter, or DPF, is full of soot and needs to burn it off in a process called regeneration. If you stop driving or shut off the engine before that process finishes, you're letting soot build up to dangerous levels. Eventually, you'll block the DPF completely and be forced to replace it, a job that can cost up to $2,500. Worse, a blocked DPF can create back pressure that strains the turbo, reduces fuel economy, and even triggers limp mode. All this damage comes from ignoring a single light. Want your DPF to last over 100,000 miles? Drive long enough for passive or active regeneration to complete. That means highway driving, steady RPMs, and no short trips. And if you want to make that regeneration process easier and extend oil life while you're at it, the next secret is critical. Secret number 8, change diesel oil based on soot load, not just mileage. Think your diesel oil is fine just because you're following the manual? Think again. In city driving, a diesel engine can exceed its soot load capacity in under 3,000 miles, long before you hit your next scheduled oil change. Most service intervals recommend changing the oil every 7.5 to 10,000 miles, and some even stretch it to 15,000. But those numbers assume perfect conditions, not traffic, short trips, towing, or stop-and-go driving. Here's the hard truth. Soot is the silent killer in diesel oil. It thickens the oil, reduces lubricity, and turns it into an abrasive sludge that chews through cams, lifters, and bearings. If you do any kind of hard or urban driving, change your oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, even if you're using full synthetic. The oil may look clean, but if soot has changed its consistency, you're already causing wear. Want to avoid a $5,000 engine rebuild? Monitor how you drive and change your oil based on soot, not just miles. That one decision can double the life of your diesel. But even fresh oil can't save your engine if the fuel itself is working against you. And that's where the next secret comes in. Secret number 7, don't sleep on diesel additives. Fuel additives have a bad reputation, and in gasoline engines, they've often earned it. But when it comes to diesels, additives aren't just helpful, they're essential. Modern ultra-low sulfur diesel is cleaner for the environment, but dirtier for your engine. The refining process strips out natural lubricants, leaving the fuel dry. In standardized wear tests, untreated ULSD produced 520-micron wear scars, a recipe for premature wear on your injectors, pumps, and valves. If you're not using top-tier diesel at every fill-up, your engine's life is already shrinking. And even top-tier stations often don't supply enough cetane, which affects combustion efficiency. That's where high-quality additives like Hot Shot's secret everyday diesel treatment come in. They restore lubricity, boost cetane, reduce water contamination, and improve fuel economy by up to 10%, potentially saving you $500 a year. And in winter, it's not optional. You'll need a diesel anti-gel additive to prevent fuel from freezing in lines and filters. A clogged system in freezing weather can leave you stranded or damage your high-pressure pump. But not all additives are created equal. Using the wrong one could damage your engine. Secret number 6. Never let it run empty. Letting your diesel run near empty isn't just risky, it's destructive. Unlike gasoline, diesel fuel is vulnerable to contamination from water, wax, particulates, and even bacteria. That's why over time, sludge builds up at the bottom of your fuel tank. And when you're running low, your fuel pump starts sucking up that contaminated mess, sending it straight into your filters, injectors, and combustion chambers. Eventually, this sludge will clog injectors, strain your fuel pump, and shorten your engine's lifespan. Worse, low fuel levels reduce lubrication in the pump itself, causing it to overheat and fail. And a new diesel fuel pump that'll run you $700 to $1,500 or more. But it gets worse. Diesel doesn't vaporize like gasoline, so when the temperature fluctuates, water condenses inside your tank. This water fuels microbial growth, leading to rust, corrosion, and even filter blockages. That's why the smart move is to refuel before hitting a quarter tank. Some mechanics even say half a tank. And if your vehicle has a diesel particulate filter, DPF, some won't even regenerate below 1/4, which means you'll eventually pay for a full DPF replacement. In cold weather, keep your tank full and use winterized diesel to prevent gelling, because waiting too long to refuel won't just leave you stranded, it'll leave you with a 5-figure repair bill. Now, even the cleanest fuel needs professional help eventually, and that's exactly what the next tip covers. Secret number 5, professional fuel system cleaning every 30,000 miles. Diesel engines have a dirty little problem, and it's called soot. I mentioned it earlier. Over time, carbon deposits, varnish, and sludge build up inside the fuel rails, lines, and injectors, choking your engine from the inside out. In fact, 60% of diesel performance issues, from loss of power to injector failures, are caused by a dirty fuel system. And if you wait until it's noticeable, the repair could cost you over $2,000. That's why professional fuel system cleaning isn't just maintenance, it's protection. Done every 30,000 miles, this service can involve a chemical flush, fuel polishing, or even ultrasonic injector cleaning. It isn't cheap. Expect to pay between $100 and $1,000 depending on your vehicle and method. But here's the upside. You could improve your fuel economy by up to 15%, which means saving $750 a year if you spend $5,000 on fuel annually. Plus, cleaning prevents turbo wear, protects injector spray patterns, and keeps your combustion chamber lean and efficient. Still, you don't have to rely on pro cleaning alone. The next few secrets will show you how to prevent buildup before it even starts, starting with a part that's shockingly overlooked. Secret number 4, regularly clean or replace the turbo intercooler. Have you noticed your diesel engine whistling, hissing, or lagging when you accelerate? Or maybe it's blowing more smoke than usual? That's not just annoying. It could be your turbo intercooler crying for help. The intercooler plays a crucial role by cooling down hot, compressed air from the turbo before it enters the engine. Cooler air means more oxygen, better combustion, and higher efficiency. But over time, the intercooler gets clogged with oil mist, grime, and road debris. This can raise your intake air temperature by up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, cutting engine power by as much as 20%. A clogged intercooler forces your turbo to work harder, which shortens its lifespan. And if left unchecked, it can lead to turbo failure, an expensive problem that can cost up to $4,000 to fix. That's why smart diesel owners inspect and clean their intercoolers every 30 to 50,000 miles, or at the first sign of trouble. In one case, a customer brought in his truck at 87,000 miles, and the intercooler was full of oil due to a failed PCV valve. A simple cleaning could have saved him thousands. If you ignore this, you may need to replace the intercooler entirely. A few $100 now beats a multi-thousand-dollar bill later. And while the intercooler protects your turbo during operation, the next secret protects it after, when it's most vulnerable. Secret number 3, don't rush the turbo cooldown protocol. Here's a hot take, literally. Turning off your diesel right after driving could cook your turbo to death. Your turbocharger can reach 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than lava. While the engine is running, oil and coolant keep it from overheating. But the moment you shut it off, oil stops circulating, and the intense heat causes it to burn and carbonize on the turbo bearings. This sticky residue restricts oil flow, slowly choking the turbo until it fails. And trust me, a blown turbo isn't a budget fix. Replacements start at $2,000 to $4,000. And in high-end vehicles like diesel Mercedes or pickups with performance turbos, it can cost over $5,000. To avoid that, follow the turbo cooldown protocol. After any heavy driving, like towing, climbing hills, or highway cruising, let your engine idle for 1 to 3 minutes before shutting it off. This gives the oil time to pull heat away from the turbo housing and bearings. Done? Okay. Let's move forward and tackle the part of your diesel that controls everything from power to smoke output. Secret number 2. Swap or clean dirty air filters immediately. Here's a detail that too many diesel owners overlook. Your air filter isn't just for clean breathing. It's essential for survival. Unlike gasoline engines that run with a 12 to 1 to 15 to 1 air-to-fuel ratio, diesels rely on extremely lean mixtures, sometimes as high as 40 to 1. That means if your air filter is clogged, your engine literally can't breathe, and that leads to power loss, black smoke, poor fuel economy, and turbo strain. Car manuals often say, replace every 12,000 to 15,000 miles, but that assumes ideal conditions: no dust, no stop-and-go traffic, and no gravel roads. In the real world, you need to inspect and clean your filter every 3 to 6 months, especially if you live in a dry or dusty area. Here's my rule: if it's dirty enough to notice, clean it. If you've cleaned it twice already and it still causes symptoms like rough idle or smoke, replace it. An air filter costs about $30. A blown turbo from dirty intake air? That's $3,000 or more. Use compressed air to blow out debris, and don't forget, even a clean-looking filter can be clogged deep inside. So set a calendar reminder and make it a habit. Now that your engine can breathe freely, let's finish with the one startup mistake that silently damages your glow plugs, wastes fuel, and ruins your mornings and your motor. Secret number 1. Stop ignoring the glow plug light. This tiny dashboard icon, the one that looks like a glowing spring, is the most ignored warning light in diesel vehicles. And skipping it could be the reason your engine struggles every morning and fails way too early. Glow plugs do the job of spark plugs, just not as fast. They preheat the combustion chamber so diesel can ignite properly, especially in cold weather. But if you start the engine before the glow plug light turns off, you're forcing ignition in a cold chamber. What happens next? White smoke, hard starts, cylinder flooding, and raw fuel soaking into the cylinder walls, washing away the protective oil film and causing long-term wear. That's why experienced diesel drivers always wait for the glow plug light to turn off before starting. In winter, many even cycle the key twice, turn it on, wait for the light to go off, then off and back on again before cranking. This ensures proper heat buildup for clean ignition. The benefits? Longer glow plug life, over 150,000 miles, fewer cold start emissions, and better fuel economy. You'll also protect your starter motor and battery, which get hammered during rough cold starts. And while the average glow plug lasts 80,000 to 100,000 miles, drivers who follow this simple step often never need to replace theirs. Neglect this, and you might be paying for injectors, batteries, and full diagnostics before you even hit 6 figures on the odometer. And now you know the truth. It's not the diesel engine that fails, it's the driver's habits. Avoid these mistakes, and your diesel might just outlive your car loan. Want more tips, tricks, and hidden car repair traps most drivers miss? Hit subscribe and keep your ride out of the shop and on the road where it belongs.